Q1 2026 is in the books for South Florida real estate, and I have to be honest, some of this data surprised me. I'm going to walk you through every metric: days on market, prices, inventory, absorption rates, and more importantly, tell you exactly what it means if you're buying or selling in Palm Beach or Broward County right now. South Florida, we are through Q1 of 2026, and the data is telling an interesting story. I want to walk you through every metric: what it is, what it was a year ago, and what it actually means for you. Let's do this. Let's start with days on market. This is still my favorite metric because it cuts through the noise and tells you how the market is actually behaving on the ground. When we look at Q1 average days on market from 2025 and compare it to Q1 2026, Palm Beach County went from 89 days to 96 days. That's an 8% increase. Broward saw a bigger jump from 89 days to 100 days. That's a 12% increase. The median days on market tells a similar story. Palm Beach is up just 2% from 58 days to 59 days. Broward is up 5% from 61 days to 64 days. So what does this actually mean? Homes are still taking a little longer to sell than they were a year ago, but the pace of that slowdown has moderated significantly compared to what we were seeing throughout 2025. And before anyone reads those numbers and panics, let's put them in perspective. If you go back to 2015 through 2019, 96 to 100 days on market was completely normal. That was the market before the pandemic distorted everything. We're on the upper end of the historical norm, but this is a healthy, balanced market, not a distressed one. Here's my take from actually being in the field every day. The median number is the one I trust more. Palm Beach barely moved, 58 to 59 days. That tells me homes that are priced right are selling at essentially the same pace as last year. The average is being pulled up by homes that are sitting, and those homes are sitting because they're overpriced. I'll come back to that. Now let's talk about what everyone actually wants to know. What's happening with prices? Palm Beach County saw the average sale price increase 11% comparing Q1 this year to Q1 last year. That's going from 924,000 to just over 1 million. The median sales price, which is the better number to look at, is up 3% from 505,000 to 518,000. Healthy, consistent appreciation across the board in Palm Beach. Not a spike, not a crash, steady upward movement. That's exactly what you want to see in a market. Now, Broward, and this is where you really have to slow down and read the data carefully. The average sale price in Broward is up 32% from 610,000 to 807,000. That is a massive number. If you saw that headline, you'd think Broward is on fire across the board. Here's what's actually happening. There were 56 more sales above 1.5 million in Q1 2026 compared to Q1 2025. And most of those sales were above 5 million. When you have a wave of 5, 10, $15 million transactions, they pull the average up dramatically, and the number becomes almost meaningless for the typical buyer. So when you strip those out and look at the median, the true middle of the market, Broward is actually down 1%, 455,000 to 450,000. This is exactly why median is always the better metric. Average gets distorted by outliers. Median tells you what a real buyer in a real price range is actually experiencing. What this tells us is that less homes are selling below 1.5 million in Broward, while many more are selling above. The luxury market is absolutely booming. The normal market is softening slightly. Palm Beach County is showing healthy price appreciation on all levels. Broward is essentially flat at the median, and that gap between the two counties is something worth watching if the trend continues. The bigger picture though, wealthy buyers are buying property in South Florida at near record numbers. The wealth migration here is not a trend anymore. It's structural, and it's showing up clearly in this data. This is the chapter I want you to pay the most attention to because this is where the real story of 2026 starts. Inventory is declining, both counties, and honestly, this surprised me too. Palm Beach County inventory is down about 8% in Q1 2026, from about 28,000 homes in Q1 2025 to just under 26,000. Broward is down 7% from 32,000 homes to 30,000. But here's what makes this even more significant. New listings are down sharply as well. Palm Beach saw an 11% decrease in new listings compared to Q1 last year. Broward was down about 15%. So we don't just have fewer homes on the market, we have fewer homes coming onto the market. Supply is tightening from both ends simultaneously. For context, and this matters, both counties are still about 3% above the 2016 to 2019 average inventory levels. So we're not in a supply crisis. We still have more inventory than the pre-pandemic period. But here's what I can't stress enough. The direction has completely reversed. Last year, inventory was climbing. This year, it's declining. That is a massive shift that I don't think enough buyers and sellers have fully processed yet. We all know the equation. When supply declines and demand stays flat or increases, prices go up. And that's exactly what we're starting to see in the data and what I'm experiencing in the field every single day right now. Here's where Palm Beach County and Broward start to separate clearly. Palm Beach County sold homes up 6% year over year, from about 5,500 to 5,800, and under contract activity is up 11%. That is strong momentum. More homes selling, more homes going under contract. That's a market picking up steam. Broward sold homes are actually down 2%, from about 5,400 to about 5,300. Now, that number on its own might concern you, but under contract activity is up 9%. So the transactions are happening. They just haven't all closed yet. There are signs of life in Broward despite the slight decline in closed sales. The takeaway here is clear. Palm Beach County is selling more homes year over year while inventory is declining year over year. That combination only points one direction, a strengthening market with upward pressure on prices. Broward is still contracting slightly on closed sales, but the under contract numbers tell me it's not a market in trouble. It's a market stabilizing. If the trend of declining sales continues in Broward, that would be something to watch closely. Sales volume is the lifeblood of any market, but right now the signals are mixed, and I'd call it a neutral to cautiously optimistic. Absorption rate is the metric that tells you definitively whether you're in a buyer's market, a seller's market, or somewhere in between. 5 to 6 months is balanced. Below 5 is seller's territory. Above 6 is buyer's territory. Palm Beach County overall improved from 8.33 months down to 7.15 months. Still technically in buyer's market territory overall, but moving meaningfully toward balanced. But here's what's new, and this is important. 2 price segments in Palm Beach County are now in seller's market territory. This is the first time we've seen this in a while. The 500,000 to 750,000 range is at 4.66 months. Absolutely a seller's market. The 1 million to 1.5 million range is at 5.25 months, right at the threshold of seller's market territory. And the luxury market above 1.5 million dropped from 12.75 months down to 8.22 months. This is a dramatic improvement in a single quarter, completely in line with what we're seeing in the sales data. A lot more homes trading above 1.5 million in Q1 2026 compared to Q1 2025. Broward also showed meaningful improvement. The 500 to 750 range is now at 5.36 months. Not quite seller's market territory, but trending hard in that direction. And every single price segment in Broward improved compared to Q1 last year, every one. The Broward luxury market is not as strong as Palm Beach, but substantial movement happened, from 14.5 months of inventory down to 11.7 months. So what's the takeaway on absorption rates? Both counties are improving across the board. Palm Beach has 2 price categories officially in seller's market territory, 500 to 750 and 1 to 1.5 million. Broward has 1 approaching it, and that's 500 to 750. This is the first time we've seen broad-based absorption rate improvement in a while. The market is getting more competitive, not less. All right, here's where I stop reading data and start telling you what to do with it. If you're thinking about listing in either Palm Beach or Broward County right now, the single most important thing I can tell you is this. Buyers in 2026 are more informed than they have ever been. They are doing the research before they ever pick up the phone. They know what comparable homes sold for. They know what's sitting. They are not clicking on, and they are absolutely not touring homes that are even slightly overpriced. Here's what I see happen constantly. A seller lists at an aspirational number. 2 weeks go by, no offers. They drop the price. Now they've been on the market 30, 45 days, and that sitting time is visible to every buyer and every buyer's agent in the market. Their perception shifts. People wonder what's wrong with it. And now instead of competitive offers, they're getting low balls, lower than what they would have gotten if they had just priced it right from day one. The demand is there for the right product at the right price. Well-priced homes in good condition are moving fast right now. I'm seeing it every week. Don't test the market. Price it accurately from the start and let the buyers compete. That's how you win in this environment. If you're a buyer, there is still opportunity in this market, but you just have to work for it. Deals are not just sitting on the market waiting for you to find them. You have to make the deal happen. Here's exactly what I tell my buyers right now. Don't fall in love with any one house. Pick 5 to 7 properties that check your boxes. Make offers 10 to 15% below asking on all of them. See which sellers are willing to work with you. Some have been sitting. They're motivated. They'll negotiate. Others won't move. You find out fast and you move on. That's how you find a deal in this market. In Palm Beach County, especially in that 5 to 750 range, the window is getting tighter. That segment is now officially a seller's market. If you're in that price range in Palm Beach and you've been on the fence, the data is telling you something. In Broward, under $1 million, particularly in that 6 to 800 range, there is still meaningful opportunity. The median price is essentially flat year over year. The market hasn't fully turned yet, but absorption rates are improving every single quarter, and that window will not stay open indefinitely. The big picture after a period of adjustment in 2025, both markets are tightening. The big picture after a period of adjustment in 2025, both markets are tightening. Inventory is down, new listings are down, absorption rates are improving across every price segment in both counties. The pendulum is swinging back. Deals aren't just sitting on the market. You have to make the deal happen. If you want to know what any of this means for your specific situation, your neighborhood, your price point, your timeline, drop a question in the comments. Subscribe for more South Florida market updates, and I'll see you on the next one.